G'day guys, Diction here, and yes, I have shaven. Yes, I feel very self-conscious about it, but it was just so long and just getting ugly, it had to go. Now, what I'm really here to talk about today is a bit of misinformation that's been circling around in this last week or so. There's this video that's been going around that was made by some workers at a Finnish city council, which people have been trying to say that this was the entirety of a $2.5 million attempt at a campaign against sexual assault. So here we're just gonna play that video for you.
Stop! Don't touch me there! This is my no-no square! Stop! Don't touch me there! This is my no-no square!
So yeah, a pretty cringy video. I'm not sure how a no-no square that's supposed to help anything. Like if you're being attacked and you just go, stop, don't touch me there. This is my no-no square. Like, oh, sorry then, I'll just back right off. But what people have been trying to do is say that this TikTok cost 2.5 million euros. It did not. I initially thought that this was legitimate. I thought that this did cost 2.5 million euros, and I can understand why other people fell for it as well, because there's been some really stupid campaigns that have actually got money behind it lately. What with the UK doing a let's stop using euphemisms about periods because that's supposed to help women, because talking about gross subject matter and just doing a bit of a euphemism is apparently a bad thing. Oh, I'm gonna take a massive dump in the toilet. No, you say, oh, I'm just gonna go drop the kids off at the pool. Same thing. Again, yes, initially I did fall for this. I did think that that was the actual situation, that this cringy TikTok cost 2.5 million euros because of things like what the UK, that program did. But when I decided that I was gonna make a video on it and I was going to go do a whole, we did it boys, sexual assault is no more, and all it cost was 2.5 million euros and my faith in humanity. But then I decided when I was going to actually make the video, I better make sure that I actually get some actual references for this. And then when I try to find information from this, that's when things started to crumble a little. When trying to find information about this, the only things that I could seem to find was some stuff for some groups that are a bit way too far gone. It all seemed to originate from a tweet from someone who's kind of notorious for spreading misinformation, and is also an overt nationalist, and not the type of nationalist that's like the more inclusive one. It says, you know what, having a strong national identity to unite behind is a good thing, and that we should emphasize our, common thing that we have as a nation rather than our racial or ethnic differences, because hey, we all call this place home. We are one, but we are many, and from all the lands about we come, we share a dream and sing with one voice. I am, you are, we are Australia. Yeah, not that type. And not the type that goes, we should look out for our country's best interest, but, maybe we shouldn't also screw other countries over. That's probably a bad thing to do. But it's not that. Unfortunately, what we're dealing with is someone who's more of the, I'm a real insert nationality here. You're not. You should leave. Now, here's the person in question that I'm talking about. I'm going to show their name and their Twitter thing, just not to, encourage people to go harass people. Don't go and harass people. Don't do that. Don't be an idiot. The reason that I haven't blurred out this person's name and Twitter details or whatever is just, if you see this, don't take what they're saying seriously, because they spread misinformation a lot. Now, the reason that pointing out that they're a very strong nationalist is important is because they've been trying to, and within the circles themselves that have been talking about this, they've been trying to paint it as, oh, the Finnish government won't recognize that immigrants are causing a sexual assault epidemic, which actually isn't true. Now, when you look at a lot of the Scandinavian countries and at their crime statistics around sexual assault and rape, the stats are really high, and you're like, holy crap, why are things that high? That doesn't look good. But when you look into it further, you realize that the reason that they're so high is that crime statistics can only be based on crimes that are actually reported. Scandinavian countries aren't having more incidences, it's just that when these incidences actually occur, they're being reported. In that way, we should look to what the Scandinavian countries are doing and figure out why is it that victims are so much more better able to report these things when these things happen. What are they like? That's a good thing. We should be looking at saying, hey, what's different about the Scandinavian countries that they're actually able to report these things? It's very difficult for victims of these kind of crimes to come forward and say that these things have happened. So what's up? What's the deal with Scandinavian countries? What's the deal with Scandinavian countries? It's great how they're doing this. How are they doing it? Let's learn. Now, although I will emphasize that I disagree with these people, I understand how they've come to these kind of thinking because the EU unfortunately does have open border policies, and when you have open border policies, you don't screen or check or do any security measures to make sure that anyone and everyone that's coming in isn't a danger to the place that they're entering. And unfortunately, that means that you're going to let in some people that are a danger, and that small minority is going to lead to the majority, the overwhelming majority, who are good, honest people who share the same values as these European countries. They're going to be negatively perceived by the population at large, much, much worse than if they had security measures to make sure, okay, we're going to make sure that we don't just let anyone come in. We're going to let in people who legitimately are seeking asylum, and we're going to let in people who aren't dangerous. That didn't work. But that being said, if you come across this kind of thing, oh, this costs 2.5 million euros. No. The actual program is a long-term program that's going over a number of years, includes a number of different approaches, and I think the overall goal for this is that they are trying to establish a social media presence where people who want to talk about these things but are afraid to talk about afraid to talk to someone face to face, that they can do it over social media, and that's kind of the deal. Immigrants aren't causing a sexual assault and rape epidemic in the Scandinavian countries. It's just that Scandinavian countries, something about their culture means that those who experience these horrible things when they do happen are much more likely to report them. Honestly, people who are that willing to spread misinformation, scummy people. Get off my stream.
Read!